Coming up on him just yet, Denis Menchov here, and there's been an attack by Mayo. There it is, as he makes his move, and look who goes, Armstrong, and look who follows, Jan Ullrich, but not as sprightly.
Not as sprightly. The big thing about Armstrong, he has the acceleration. When he wants to go on a climb, he can do it. He has now decided, I want to go. You can see the yellow jersey is opening up a slight advantage. Mayo now has to dig deep. Ullrich has got the big gear going. He's coming up to the wheel of the Basque rider, but Armstrong wants to go right now.
Armstrong was waiting for somebody to pull in the flag, and now it was even. Oh, what's happened here? What has happened there? It seemed quite a normal corner. He must have hit somebody in the audience. Mayo has gone. Now the situation. Remember the pair of sword when Ullrich crashed? Armstrong waited, but what? Let's have a look at this now. It still is unclear here exactly what happened.
I can't see. I think he just touched somebody with his handlebar there, but his chain is off. His chain is stuck, and it's a complete and utter chaos at the back end of the bike race. Can he recover? He's on his same bicycle. His teammate is there right now. He's changed up onto the gear to try and get himself. He's got a teammate there. There is Chechu Rubiera. Calm down. Don't panic, lads. He's saying, he's putting his hand down and saying, don't worry, we can get back into this.
The adrenaline will be pumping now like you will not believe here. He's got to control it, otherwise he'll take himself over the top. He's so lucky to have a teammate, and I think he's waiting.
Well, Ullrich is now in first place. I can't believe he will take advantage of this. He's looking over his shoulders. He knows there's a possibility of winning the Tour de France right now, but he's not sure what's happening. There is Vinokourov in front. There is Iban Mayo. He's the man who went down with Armstrong as well.
Oh, what is going on?
There's a problem with his pedals. He has a problem with his pedals.
This is what happened. I think his pedal may have broken. This happened. He didn't hit anybody. Well, it was the problem with his pedals.
It was very strange to see that. He's looking down. He now knows he's got a serious problem. Watch this now.
Well, this is awful.
Digging deep, and his foot has just come out, and I don't believe how he's managed to keep it upright there.
And how did Mayo must have panicked as well there. Well, what is this Tour de France going to end with? Every day is something different. Ullrich will be totally unaware and probably totally perplexed as to why Armstrong fell, but I think that was positive proof that it was nothing to do with the spectators.
He is not far behind. He's in the cars there, just behind Jan Ullrich.
Ullrich is not pushing it on. Hamilton here, speaking with Basso, saying, slow it down a bit.
This is unbelievable. They're waiting for the man in the yellow jersey, and he's come back. He's still going to have that mechanical problem. He's going to need to change his machine because his pedal has come out on 2 occasions. Look at the burn on his back there, where he went down very sharply indeed. As another move comes, this is Iban Mayo now, has seen the yellow jersey back in the group, and he puts the pressure on once more.
Well, twice now we have seen problems here for Lance Armstrong. Clearly his right pedal. We've seen pedal problems before in big races, but what a day and a place to have a pedal problem. Ullrich did not want to push his advantage. Hamilton spoke with the others, but really, it's nothing to do with them. They want to win the Tour.
Let me cast your mind back, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but there was on a mountain like this where Jan Ullrich had a flat tyre at the bottom of the climb. He was a challenger, I think, to Lance Armstrong at the time, and he actually waited. Armstrong waited for Jan Ullrich to get back into the race situation. You know, in the sport of professional cycling, there's always payback time. You can never burn your bridges. Don't ever make enemies.
Well, that's absolutely true, of course. Ullrich wants to win this Tour de France more than anybody else, and probably certainly as much as Lance Armstrong wants to win it. But how lucky was Armstrong to have Rubiera alongside him to help him out of that mess, and this drama enacting on one of the steepest climbs of the Tour de France. They are now climbing steadily. They've brought themselves in. They're composing. But Lance now will be feared to get out of the pedal. He won't be pushing down on that right leg too hard in case whatever is happening happens again. It must be his cleats somehow twisting out the fitting.
But the faithful Chechu Rubiera is always there. Armstrong is out of the saddle again. He's jumping onto the tail here of Iban Mayo.
Here he goes again.
But, you know, thinking back to that crash, I think and he's going again, he's accelerating again, Phil. This is amazing. This man has been on the ground. He almost lost his manhood on the crossbars a few moments ago, and he's decided he wants to go.
9 kilometers to go to the summit. The leader is just on 7.5 kilometers from the summit. Don't forget, Sylvain Chavanel is doing the ride of his life. But even though he's French, our French hosts with the cameras know that this is the battle for the winner of the Tour de France. And what a race this is. Lance Armstrong now, the adrenaline still pumping from his double accident, and Ullrich has gone on the defensive completely. Here he comes.
This is fabulous. This is unbelievable. The man was on the ground. He's had problems with his pedal, and he's now decided to go out onto the attack and put Ullrich onto the defensive. Ullrich now has to try and get into a rhythm so he doesn't lose too much time on the yellow jersey of Armstrong. He wanted to do something very special this afternoon, and I wonder what the problem was with his pedal. It could just have been slight nervousness, because I think the crash was formed when he just clipped his arm on the right-hand side. There was a spectator looking the opposite way. Armstrong just touched him and he went down, and the front wheel was taken from underneath him. Well, let's have a look at the picture tonight, because what's happening at the moment is the drama of Armstrong riding away with the bike race. There you can see, this is Alexander Vinokourov. He has got the pink jersey on his shoulders, but that is of Team Telecom, not as of leader of the Giro d'Italia. Right now, this man is trying to stay in a podium position for the moment. The drama, though, is at the front of the bike race. Look at the blood on Armstrong's left arm there. He went down very hard indeed. He didn't have time to even control that crash, because his front wheel just flicked around and he went right over the top. But he's bounced back and he's put the big German into difficulty.
Well, it is unbelievable, but now Ullrich, who was on the attack on the Tourmalet, is now on the reverse here on Luz-Ardiden. Armstrong has just doubled his lead in the Tour de France. He was 15 seconds ahead overall. He's now 30. But Ullrich knows he's got to monitor that attack. This race is not going to end on Luz-Ardiden today, because Ullrich will go to the time trial, maybe with 30 or 40 seconds deficit. He can possibly reverse that in the last time trial in Paris. That's what he's thinking right now. Here is Lance Armstrong. Now, we have had the privilege of having a look at the slow-motion replay of the situation. It looks, Paul, as though Armstrong did hit the spectator, as you said, because the spectator's hat rested on his handlebars. What I think it was the tape of the handle of a musette, a little feeding bag, hooked onto his handlebars and snatched his bike away from him.
The face of Jan Ullrich, he's digging deep, he's looking for power, but there isn't enough power to respond to Armstrong on the slopes of this climb. He knows right now he's got to try and nail back the American as we bob up the slopes here to see Sylvain Chavanel, Phil. Wow. And he's just said, bridge to engine room, more power, and there isn't any.
No, well, we're getting fancier dresses every day. Bit of a haunting man on the climb there, because Lance Armstrong now, there's a flotilla of motorcycles just in front. It could well be. He's now seen the man who's led this race out from the beginning today, Sylvain Chavanel, and won everything. These boys are still making Jan Ullrich do all of the work, because they've not a lot to gain if they don't, and they keep looking at him. Ullrich isn't asking for help now. This is one-on-one, and the gap has opened in the other way that everybody here thought it would. And in fact, when Ullrich attacked on the Col du Tourmalet, we did not expect to see a reversal like this on Luz-Ardiden.
He was worried about this climb of Luz-Ardiden, and he thought by attacking so far out he could put Armstrong into difficulty. Well, he did for a few moments, maybe about 300 or 400 meters, but Armstrong did not panic. He picked up his pace, rode back onto the wheel of the German, and since then they have dominated all of the pace-making at the front of this race. Looking down there at the wheels of Lance Armstrong, they're ticking by. He's using a fairly reasonable gear right now, but this is the face of the big game. He's definitely got the face that we've seen so many times in the past.
Minute and 5 seconds he's opened up now, so Ullrich is losing huge time here now. And this could well be the next few days, could be the victory of Lance Armstrong as he keeps his yellow jersey all the way to Paris. This is the big effort now. There is the catch. The first time anybody has seen this man for hours and hours today. He's won every prize on the road, but Lance Armstrong is going to have to deny him a win here, because he needs that win bonus of 20 seconds as well.
And of course he needs the pride, Phil, of winning a road stage of the Tour de France, because not very often do riders win the Tour de France without winning a road stage.
Only 4 times since the Tour,
I think the last one I remember
won a stage
was Greg LeMond.
There's 4 of them: Gaston Nencini, Lucien Aymar, 2 I can remember at the moment. Roger Walkowiak was the other one. So those 4, nice pat on the back. Very sportsmanlike by Lance Armstrong. He's no choice but to go on. I think if it wasn't such a matter of time, he would have let this man continue.
What a gesture.
2 kilometers. It will seem like 20 miles now, because it kicks all the way to the line. That's the difference between this climb and Alpe d'Huez. It doesn't stop until you're over the line, right? People will be caught waiting to catch the riders when they cross the line, because there's no freewheel. It is staying uphill. And Jan Ullrich here, he looks to the right there to see if he can catch a glimpse in the crowd line of where exactly is Armstrong. He'll look for the helicopters too. He is still, and Morrow is now dangling off the back as well.
Well, I'm not surprised, because Jan Ullrich has pulled back a further 5 seconds on Lance Armstrong. It is now 45 seconds, the difference between Armstrong and the Ullrich group. And the time bonuses are going to be very important. Ullrich will have to try and get himself second place, because there's a 12-second time bonus for the second man to cross the line.
Well, in real time at the moment, the difference is exactly 1 minute in the overall classification. At 2 kilometers to go now for Jan Ullrich, and he's still closing. You see the difference in the pedaling ratios here. Always fast cadence for Lance Armstrong. And if Ullrich can get a little bit of a faster cadence on his bike, and then of course he'll go quicker, because he always pedals a higher gear. Jan Ullrich now, he has given everything that's left in his body to try and keep this man in his sights. He is convinced if he can keep him in his sights, he will win the Tour in the last time trial. Well, Armstrong might have other ideas about that. Look at the perspiration just running off his face. He's going to lose another 7 kilos today in body fluids, I think. But for this time, it's going to be a special thing. He's heading now to his 16th stage win of his Tours de France.
I don't think they'll ever make that mistake again, Phil. They will pay very much attention to temperatures out on the roads of the Tour de France, and I think next time they come, Lance Armstrong will probably have himself an air-conditioned warming-up room. Ullrich is going through all kinds of pain right now just to keep himself in with a chance of winning the Tour de France. Armstrong felt that even with a 15-second advantage going into the final time trial, he could still win it. He looks back at his old performance over the last few years, when in fact, out of the 8 Tour de France time trials he's ridden, he's won 6 of them. He's only been beaten by 2 men in the time trial. One was Santiago Botero, the other was Jan Ullrich. The gap is still now holding at 50 seconds, but this man's face is a picture of agony.
This must be the hardest kilometre in the life of Jan Ullrich. The same might be said for Tyler Hamilton here, who's still holding the Ullrich group in his sights. He too might move closer to the leaderboard tonight. This has been an exceptionally good day for him. But this is the man trying to write his name as equal only to Miguel Indurain with 5 straight wins in the Tour de France. He has gone a long way to doing that today, and he's done it in the most bizarre of circumstance, falling off when he was hooked off his bike by a spectator, and now he's gone away, and Ullrich slowed the group down to let him back in, so they started the climb again together, and then Armstrong went.
Inside 500 meters to go right now. He's still got to keep that cadence as high as possible. He has to make sure that he doesn't lose very much time over the last 250 meters, because this Tour de France is all going to be about seconds. Seconds will decide this bike race at the end of the day. But what a brilliant performance. And he's still, you know, Phil, this is an interminable climb. It's a beast of a climb, and it does not finish. Even after the finish line, it kicks up right towards the summit, towards Spain.
There's plenty of people waiting to catch the riders. I can promise you that as they come through here. The mist has come over the top. What an incredible day this has been. For 15 days we have shadowboxed one of the greatest Tours de France. Any one of 3 men could win it. They knew this climb was going to prove who was the best man. Armstrong, I think, in a week's time, will look back as winner of his 5th Tour de France, but I think we'll still be talking about who will win it when we get to the time trial, because Ullrich is a superbly good time trial rider. The American flags are flying now, though. This is a matter of pride again for Armstrong. A massive round of applause. No victory salute from Lance Armstrong. It's who's going to get hold of me, because the clock has started.
The 2 riders from Euskaltel-Euskadi are trying to get themselves the bonuses, and that's going to steal that away from Jan Ullrich. The 2 men, Iban Mayer and Zubeldia, in 2nd and 3rd position. But these men have closed down an unbelievable gap over the last few meters.
Well, they've done the dirty there on Jan Ullrich, because he's not going to get a time bonus, which might be the difference between winning and finishing 2nd in the Tour de France. They're all round the corner, but they feel they're obliged to do this to show their Basque friends and countrymen that they were there. And 4th place for Jan Ullrich, and I make it about 42 seconds, 40-42, it's not official. But that means Lance were 40-55, 1 minute 15 approximately. Lance now leads the Tour de France. Surely that's enough.
Well, that remains to be seen. Armstrong's advantage over Alexander Vinokourov, though, certainly will be enough. He came in 2 minutes and 7 seconds down. Not quite Vino Collapso, but after days of attacking on sheer strength of will, the superiority of the 2 men in front of him finally told. So there's the stage result. Armstrong with his first stage win of the Tour, and Jan Ullrich's group closing to within 40 seconds at the finish. Ivan Mayo took second, Ullrich edged out Aimar Zubeldia for third, so while Armstrong picks up a 20-second bonus for winning, Ullrich limits that damage with 8 seconds for third. Sylvain Chavanel has to be content with a pat on the back from a passing race leader. After his long lone break, he came in 10th, nearly 3 minutes down. David Miller was 108th in the large group of riders that sticks together to avoid missing the time limit. So was the green jersey Baden Cook. They came in over 34 minutes behind the leader. Axel Merckx, though, struggled in another 20 minutes later. He was eliminated on time, and another 3 riders abandoned the race today. Now, if you think Armstrong's not counting every second at the moment, look at this. Before he got off his bike, he went straight to the nearest TV monitor, and there's his reaction when Ullrich picks up the bonus. Ullrich himself, meanwhile, seemed surprisingly happy when he got off his bike. Perhaps he was just bemused at yet another bizarre turn of events in a tour that's been dishing them up daily. First, we had the prospect that the entire tour might hinge on the handle of a spectator's food bag, as the defending champion, interpreting the racing line beyond the limits of personal safety, snagged his handlebars and hit the ground. Then, frantic seconds while he tried to get the chain of his bike back on, unaware that Jan Ullrich was doing the sporting thing and calling a halt to hostilities while his rival was down. Armstrong going crotch to crossbar as he pulled his foot out of the pedal and narrowly avoided going down again, and finally rejoining Ullrich's group and launching the attack that may in the end win him his 5th Tour de France. That's the bare bones of the story anyway. Here are the protagonists now to put some flesh on it, starting with Lance Armstrong explaining exactly what happened in that crash.
There was, must have been, a spectator had something, probably like a bag or, it's like, let me say, a musette, the feed bag. And the handle was just swinging around and caught my handlebar. And when something like that happens, the spectator holds on to it, and it holds onto your handlebar. And, you know, immediately you go down, as we saw. So, scared the hell out of me. But I was lucky that the bike wasn't messed up, because I got up and I thought, you know, if I have to change a bike or change a wheel, then it's going to take some time. But the only problem was the chain came off, put the chain on, and we go.
Ja gut, heute war richtig, also war wieder extrem schwer, ich denke mal die absolute Königsetappe. Und ich bin erstmal glücklich, dass es so gelaufen ist. Lenz sein Sturz, er ist attackieren gegangen, Mario hinterher. Ich war auch wieder dran und dann ist er so dicht an den Zuschauer gefahren, war er selbst ein bisschen schuld. Und ja, denke ich, hat sich nichts getan, so wie er danach gefahren ist. Und ich habe dann auch nicht weiter attackiert. Und ja, Fairness ist, denke ich, alles auch im Radsport. Und ja gut, Lenz war heute der Stärkste. Aber ich habe gekämpft und alle Register gezogen, die ich hatte heute. Habe auch am Tourmalet probiert, wegzukommen. Aber ja gut, also die Tour ist noch nicht vorbei.
It's the way that it should be. You know, it's when somebody, and in my opinion, when somebody crashes, whether they're in the yellow jersey or whether they're one of the favorites, you don't attack. And you know, if we remember, 2 years ago, Jan Ullrich had a big crash on the descent of the Pierre Sword and went off the road, looked awful. And I told everybody at the time, you know, only 3 or 4 guys left. I said, look, we have to wait for him, because we don't know if he's okay. We don't know if he's coming back. So the race is neutralized until he gets back. And so, you know, Jan was perhaps had that in mind today, and that was my payback, and I appreciate it.
Nein, was heißt geärgert? Ich meine, wer attackieren kann, der geht attackieren. Und Lenz hat sich sicher für heute alles aufgehoben und wollte heute wirklich alles klar machen. Und ich finde, das ist ihnen nicht gelungen, weil, ja gut, es waren nicht so eine gewohnten 2 Minuten Vorsprung, die er sonst rausfährt, die letzten vergangenen Jahre, sondern doch nur knappe 40 Sekunden, glaube ich. Und ja, was mich ein bisschen ärgert, dass ich halt Dritter anstatt Zweiter geworden bin, wegen Qualifikation, aber da war nicht mehr drin gewesen für mich.
I think Jan probably still thinks he has a chance, and he may in fact have a chance. He's riding very strong. He can time trial very fast, so it's not over.
Well, it's not, but it's looking better for the defending champion than it has for some time. And having attacked today, all he has to do is defend between now and the final time trial. And at the end of another astonishing day, this is how the standings look. Armstrong leads the race by 1 minute and 7 seconds from Jan Ullrich. Alexander Vinokourov remains third, but he's now 2 minutes 45 behind. In fact, the order of the top 7